The community members have been to keep the village of Tannersville. So we should stabilize every square inch of infrastructure for the future and for the present. So this will be air quality and actually save for minor investment. Save it, taxpayers' actual money. So we're excited about it, and by the next board meeting, this will be done. Appropriate meeting hall and courthouse shared by the courthouse, and grateful volunteers food pantry that comes once or twice a week. But one minute, I'll keep on all the meeting order. Very cool. Some sweet, it's a 3-year-old. I don't want to fall on I have been no, after I was up again, like one airplane, but I didn't. I'm always no, only done it. And I will, I never saying.
Yes.
I would just say. Yes. I like where we go up there a lot. Did that and. That's the old. The AC and the heat of England, but it's was not today. I'm going. I don't know if that was open to talk to. Didn't win this one. Yeah. Well, it helped make. I will refer that. I don't speak to the I don't plan. Yeah. Can you provide me with pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic, and one nation under God, indivisible, with justice. We need to be justice. Before we're gonna adopt, if we're gonna adopt these, all that, so we make a motion, there are gonna be one during the week. We have been inundated by, adopting. Board members, please stop in. About. Not all. So do we have a motion to adopt vouchers that are prepared? So we don't have three signatures on any of that, so you just go lines. So we'll just move on from there. For the record, we're just going to enter in departmental reports. They're listed. Minutes. I'm sorry. As I stated earlier, most of this, as you're going to see, is about a continuation of improving infrastructure, most of it. Completing the park projects and completing the DRI projects. So, board members, we received 2 bids for the water department. And everybody here wants to adopt one of them. All motions go. You recommend them?
No, the empty.
I know our engineer Tom Lamont recommended the low bidder, so we have one. Motion for Lamont recommendation. Second, EJ Prescott. Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. So that will be immediately plus parts, 7 new fire hydrants. Some that are functional, some that will be added to Bucknell project and Spruce Street. It's going to be extension of 1,200 feet of brand new water pipe, which is going to bring us to about 90% of water mains in the building. In 25. That is the oldest section of water main pipe. That doesn't mean that we will not have water main breaks. It doesn't mean that laterals don't break. It doesn't mean that there aren't freeze ups. It doesn't mean that the ground doesn't freeze and things happen. Systems that work 365 days, 24/7, break at times, no matter how many they come. We do our best to keep up with it, but we have a great tracking of what's existing, what the state of it is, and what's being replaced and what's going on. And for our community, anyone that sees something, sees water, always report to the building. I try to walk all the streets regularly, but I do mostly Main Street. But the more eyes help our community, conserving water always at all costs. And if you need other recommendations, in fact, you look on already board members. So that was carried, right? You can do a vote. So other than that, we're going to about the highway report, we'll put it in minutes and code enforcement officers. I'd like to see them. Was it one? Carl will talk about it. I'd like to say some discussion on. I don't know how much the public is aware of the 24/7 feature. Recently, I want to publicly thank everyone. They are available even at 2 p.m. when they get a phone call from somebody at the water and they respond to these calls in real time. Publicly acknowledge and make sure that the public is aware of how much and how hard that they work to try and ensure that our infrastructure is really operating 24/7. Even while we're. Thank you. And these reports that are entered in the minutes are basically a broad summary. We try to put some of the highlights in there. They certainly are not a culmination of all the work that we accomplished all day long. Thank you, Mr. Evans. We do have a report from the code enforcement officer. Maybe he has to remark about it later, but I'm glad to put that in. Grants update. As you know, we had a downtown fund, part of the DRI, it was a $600,000 fund. It had been primarily dispersed under the former administration. Gotten town supervisor, Mr. Mahoney is here. Welcome. Thank you. It was a DRI that was received For those who may not know, it was a $10 million grant, Tannersville, for revitalization. Sean Mahoney, myself and other parties went and did those presentations to get that grant. Much of the grant has been allocated. There was a small remaining fund of about $73,000 for people that decided not to move forward, that had awarded funds and decided not to move forward. We re-put it out to the committee. There was a committee, which is not this board, that will make the decision on where the money goes. That remaining $73,000 was also the board that did not make the entire 10 million. Yeah. So we rebid it and received 10 grants, really great people from our community, putting in great concepts, ideas to do minor facade improvements and or small capital improvements to their businesses. They received 10, committee met, did a lot of diligence for the future. If people want to know, I did receive the document of how it was sorted, how the analysis was done. And with that being said, that committee determined 3 awardees during the second round. And I'm going to have the village board. We're going to move forward to HCR. To HCR in Albany. They make the last stamp, but congratulations to those awardees. What happened here? 6194 Main Street, the higher project, receiving an additional funding of $29,224.60. They had a composite score of 274. How they did this elaborate scoring, thank you to the committee that took the time and did that. Also, 6017 to Mr. Cashman, got an award of $24,353.61 for a highly visible historical significant structure in the heart of the downtown business district. Main Street 5969, Mr. Emmanuel was awarded $19,483.30. We acknowledge the project's potential to enhance energy efficiency and local food access. Those were the 3 highest scoring projects. Pass on to HCR for of that secondary process for the final approval from the state at those funds. And they vet all these projects. They keep track of the money spent. All these projects have to spend their money first, make the investment, complete the project, and then they receive grant funds. None of those funds actually go to the village directly to an individual contract with the state, along with every other project that you see a DRI project, including the village DRI projects, which are conductivity, sidewalks, and solar. And I'll get to that later as further. A motion to just forward the HCR.
I have a motion for the HCR that the 3 points receive the points based on final recommendation of Devon and their committee. And the board has nothing to do with it, but there's a motion to make sure that those 3 participants get the money ASAP. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? That's right, hand them.
I think I.
Smart growth projects update. Upper Lake, people have visited the Upper Lake. We are 95% complete. There are a few things that we have to address. There are a few things that were potential small hazards that have been mitigated. We're also battling with wave plantings and seed, rain, non-rain, and too much heat for some growth. We didn't want to limit access. The DEC and DEP recommended that we kind of limit access in the just next few weeks to get a little more growth of the environmental filtration galleries that are at this new lake. And so that's why it hasn't really been formally open. We are going to have a formal opening and celebration starting on August 9th through August 10th. No matter what the state is, but if you've gone up there and you've driven through, it really is becoming beautiful. We just want Mother Nature to participate a little bit more, growth. All the playground issues that I thought were a potential safety hazard have been corrected. We still have some other issues that we're dealing with, along with trying to mitigate wildlife that's taking over on some level. We have done 3 conservative mitigations, one of them completed today, to limit the access to the park by the geese. And when I say conservative, we are not, we're in their habitat. So conservative, I mean, we have done nothing constructive to harm the geese. We have tried to deter them from coming to the lake. We put up new fencing that's supposed to, on the shoreline, that's supposed to prevent them from coming out of the lake where they're using fertile land and then crawl up onto the beach. We will do a concerted effort to do a cleanup, a sanitary cleanup of the whole park, close it down before it gets into full use. But if you go there, it is going to be a spectacular space and it has beautiful access and blacktopping. And you'll see a path as you go down to the road. There are still more infrastructure things. You'll see a clear path off the road to the left as you're going down Upper Lake Road. That will be the walking path, but that is going to get more stone and gravel to make it a clear, dedicated walking line down to the park rather than having to walk in.
Tannersville,
Mr. Kelly?
a follow-up to the park, we have donated time. We are building the bathrooms in-house. The group is coming next week. The park will be the jewel. And unfortunately, this New York is a little bit drought here. We're putting in 24 dead hoses. And no one is going to be killing geese and wildlife. Once the park is, we have 50 tables. Public to sit down and relax. Once it gets used, the geese will probably fly away. No mitigation of shooting geese or as long as I'm alive. And the rules of that will not happen. In the local park, I met some Conoco from his ingenuity. He got $400,000 paving job for almost nothing by Callahan, and it is impressive to say. And once the bathrooms are up, you'll enjoy it. Really, concessions being built into it. That will not take a month and a half. Thank you. Thank you.
We really should thank Deputy Mayor George Kelly. He has GC'd the building of the bathrooms along with working on the bathrooms and has GC'd the renovation of this building along with personally putting in windows, assisting with the doors, ordering, and being on site 24/7. And we did thank the DPW yesterday. While manpower, temporary manpower, have been working at full blast to keep up with Mr. Kelly.
One more thanks.
I don't know if anyone could really do.
I enjoy doing it. It's done right.
Macro project update. Of course, there's gonna be what the town's added. There's gonna be beautiful signage out at the lake. It's gonna describe the habitats, it's gonna give directions, and describe where you can pick up other paths, hiking paths. Really informative about what nature is there, what exists, what the fish exists. They're all in print and that signage will be soon, along with an additional small pavilion by the lakeside. Kind of like by the fishing pier, an additional small pavilion putting up down there, which is actually 2 pavilions. Like you said, the tables have already purchased, already built, already in our shed, ready to go out to the park.
And the second pavilion you spoke about is another picnic area. All the ones been delivered. It's gonna be built by pavilion contractors. Nice kid. This park is not gonna be really gonna be spectacular. I don't know.
Solar project is 80% complete. I told you about tax savings with the grant by the state, part of the BRI. It's a $500,000 investment to become more energy efficient. And I estimate conservatively $50,000 reduction in delivered electric. And their stage will last for 20 years. So that just goes away. The central Huntington bill, which is primarily used for streetlights. But our 2 water treatment plants and electrically use of this building and everything else. Along with the other upgrades, I expect to significantly save. Don't put back into the budget, use taxes or use it for more capital. Make it more. Conductivity, if people are walking around today, will be going out to bid, I'm hoping within 2 weeks. Conductivity is sidewalks. We will be connecting South Main on the east side of the street, connecting to the park all the way down. We create a safety, walking people that want to leave Main Street and get down to the park. Will be all sidewalk along with that weird old sewer right before the Upper Lake Loop that will all be renovated to improve drainage and public safety and beautiful access down there. Second, this is all being the initial bid. Tompkins Street from here, leaving the public parking lot. The idea was to bring people from Main Street, from free public parking to all the recreation of Tannersville. So that will be going down Tompkins Street, intersecting right at South Main, the safety post right there. And we're really excited about it. The route with elevation survey, that is completed. People requested that Railroad Avenue have more walking lane because there is access through the highway garage within a couple of years from that corner of South Main and Railroad, where the existing highway garage is located out of the floodplain. There is a nature path up there that brings you to the pocket park on Main Street. The last phase is not compliant. It is not an easy climb, and it will not become an easy climb. So therefore, people have requested that we look at adding sidewalk on Railroad. With the money, we have 1.3 million of sidewalk money in the grant. And so that would be something else that would straighten. So people could alternatively use railroad. So it's still an uphill climb. I walk it all the time. But it's not an up the mountain, up and around and come out by the pocket park, which for those who are able-bodied is beautiful, but not, we're giving it an alternative access. And finally, the last street, because all the mains were replaced, they are surveying, if I speak to the property owners on Renwick, or the west side of Renwick, homeowners, actually young family members requested years ago, they would like to be able to walk from Renwick on the sidewalk. So that would be a component, but I thought that this board and myself will go independently and ask people on Renwick if they feel it is necessary, if they want it, what is the consensus. For the other locations, we have gotten full consent from the homeowners, religious organizations, synagogue, that we move forward and welcome the project. But I'm not making determinations for everyone else. There's plenty of sidewalk that can be used around it. So we will do the engineering and then people will say, yes, we welcome it. And a healthy walking community is what I believe in. And we got some of the money. We even actually. I'm sorry, I'll change it. Did I didn't see this. Right here. I have to follow your packet? That's over here. No, I don't. What is somebody do this guy? He's done. I'm not kidding, this guy. Say publicly. We want to. That. So this guy ain't doing the job, the bottom line isn't better. And for me to be out in the park at 2 o'clock in the morning or Saturday with Cody, you see me there every weekend. If this guy can't do his job, hold back his money, there's somebody else to do it in the house. I spoke to Mr. Daly, he's not gonna shake me down, make the mayor or anybody else a big guy. It's a simple risk. I'm gonna say it publicly. He can go scratch. Is that too forward? Is that too anyone to stop?
It's perfect.
I don't know how to play games.
Maybe not. There was no motion. This contract is Bruce. There's nothing else for record said about his time. You just not extending.
Anything above and beyond that focus.
I'm sorry.
Anything above and beyond that's acting.
Yeah, it's not.
All of we've done so far as done.
All right, skip lunch. I will see what this project will then. So this was, I'm really embarrassed by, what I was stating. Comprehensive plan. We did conduct, we did solar. Mahoney is here. And I don't know if the board had a chance to review the concept that came in within 2 days ago. Although I have to say, I'm very grateful that as a former businessman in Tannersville for over 40 years, my wife 57, I always felt that it was better for the community to work cooperatively closely with the town to have a vision for our whole community as far as addressing what our assets are, addressing what our infrastructure is, what our threats are, what our needs are, because we are one community. With that being said, if you were here at any previous meetings, the village of Tannersville, actually part of my election campaign was that we would immediately update our comprehensive, formerly known as a master plan. Our master plan previously was inundated with all our deficiencies of infrastructure. We no longer have deficiencies of infrastructure. In spite of whatever static you may hear in the streets, in spite of any ups and downs of water pressure and little things. We had random water treatment plants, and as stated earlier, almost 90% of the water mains have been all replaced, along with all the laterals that go to people's homes and everything else. We have capacity and triple backup to double the amount of usage that we have today in the village of Tannersville tomorrow. With approval from the DO. Double the capacity. Surface treatment plant goes out, the new treatment plant at the lake can supply water to the community. The reservoirs go dry. We have enough water to pump out of Dibble's Dam that was fixed years ago under my watch after Irene that can pump water and fill others. And in addition to that, we're seeking one more new water source that will be pumped directly into the raw transmission line on village-owned property down by the tip of the golf course, right off the bike path. We're going to be adding another one. So we will have 4 major backups to protect us, water, our vital asset, and the headwaters. And these are really well documented great sources of water. And ultimately end up in our treatment plants, so they don't go directly into your lines. They end up being treated before they go back into lines. So they're not just chlorinated. So I'm very confident about comprehensive plan and the type of growth that we could have, which will rely on community input, elected officials input, engineer input from every decade in this community. And I mean every decade, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s are going to have ownership. And then, of course, there's a few of us in our 60s and close to 70s, I guess that will participate, and we pray we have wisdom. So with that being said, Sean, do you want to say a few words? I want to offer to our board. Sean Mahoney, the town board, has offered to share in grant funds that they have received for a comprehensive plan. Village of Tannersville would join them. We would have our own little piece. We would also have representation. That will be an equal blend of the communities. But then we would have one broad vision for our community, really laid out for the next 20 years. That's why we want every other younger people involved in this so that they have ownership and bring this forward. So Sean, maybe you could describe a little bit more of some of the funding that you have and what the town's doing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So really quickly, the town as well is also undertaking an amendment of their comprehensive plan, and this is going to be a rewrite of the comprehensive plan. We did speak out grant funding last year in the tune of $120,000 for the state, and an additional $75,000 from the DEC. for a total of $200,000. In a conversation with the mayor, we discussed possibly doing a joint comprehensive plan. Subsequently, I had a conversation with Mayor Funter of the village of Funter out in Higgins. He's also on board. And this would be truly an innovative and new and amazing, I think, document that fully encapsulates our entire community. There will be an opportunity for the unique, to talk about the unique strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities of each village and the town, and how they relate, and what is the overall. But the comprehensive plan, while it's not a regulatory document, it's not something that, you know, this is sort of the framework for how we plan for the next 20 years of our community. And the two villages are, you know, related and are a core part of the town. I did participate, and there was some other people here that did participate in the comprehensive plan of 2018 and 2019. It is an incredible process. Really enjoyable, dare I say fun, to go through and think about, like, what are the things in our town and our village and the community that have to be fixed? That has to be documented. How are we going to fix them? What is the strategy? What is the goal that we're setting for ourselves? And these are all public meetings, and there is going to be a committee that we're working on with input from both villages and people that live in the village and in the town. It's a really good process. It's going to take a little bit of time, but the hope is for an incredible document that serves all of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, and to our board members, and to the public that is here, and this does go out on Zoom, but if you feel that you have specific interest to be considered to be part of that committee, everyone is going to be considered at multiple public hearings, so everyone will be heard on a regular basis. But if you have the time, specific inclination, to be part of a community-wide investigation of who we are and where we want to be, please give your name to the town board.
I just want to add to what you said about repeats. We as a committee also be doing things, putting surveys out there. So even if you aren't necessarily capable of partaking in meetings, watch for other information we have on sites, leading to places that you can give feedback.
Thank you, and I believe that we're still going to have somebody for some committees, so that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I wanted to put it out to Tannersville and think that's.
I mean, people who can watch, more than people want people to input at every step.
Or just because people who have been doing public service, like myself, for a very long time, sometimes we can't see everything. So we really need global participation from on mountain top. Make sure what are we missing, what are we not seeing, what are we maybe stuck on. Now, Mark Spears will be spearheading this, and I'm very grateful that we're doing it. It's actually going to people. It's going to save us money. We were going to put in an application. There was no guarantee that the village would have gotten the grant comprehensive plan, which is a minimum cost to the village of at least $75,000. So with a match of 10% of that would have come out of taxpayers' money just to do the study, if we got the study. But Sean getting these additional grant funds, I think also shows that our two communities have been very effective in getting public monies, because there's been a consistency and a proficiency of getting things completed, getting them done in a timely manner, and the state viewing us in a light that says, hey, we have a spotlight on them. We keep giving them money and they keep getting things done, and they keep following, creating a walking community, a little bit more environmentally safe, with stormwater, dealing with other issues that are in Albany's mindset. That's why we're recognized. Don't think that you apply for the grant and you get it. Every community in the state is applying for the same funding. There is not funding. We've just been fortunate to get them and move forward and have actually some great expertise with some grant writers that are effective. But we have a track record of consistency and effectiveness that allows us to get more, but there are never guarantees, and there are always financial. So this expedites the process, Tannersville. And really talking to my board, they want to engage in that. This, we were going to do it, and I think this is even a better solution.
May I thank Mr. Mahoney? Mr. Mahoney, in recent days, in recent months, I've noticed your police department. And when we're talking about comprehensive plans, let's say from Hunter, Tannersville, Town of Hunter, Village, Tannersville, Village of Hunter. His police department, on comprehensive, they serve from Hayes Falls out to June, am I correct? The past couple of months, they've had a lot of activity. I'd like to thank Mr. Mahoney, his entire police department, Montgomery County Sheriff. They're doing a fantastic job. And there's a very couple of serious matters they're handling well, but that would be part and parcel of the comprehensive plan. If their police can work that well, and we can work in conjunction with them. I want to thank you and your police department from the village of Tannersville for handling all the incidents. And some are serious that you don't know of, that's between the police department and whatever else is happening. They're doing a great job, and I want to commend you and your man. We're not signing in. We're not signing in.
And we,
I just would like to add, thank you for the idea of including all the villages. I think the opportunity for a holistic report on our community at large is a great one. Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know of any other town with 2 villages
Inside.
that has ever done this before. So,
I keep thinking of the word holistic, and it's very inclusive, and I think it will benefit all of the people. So thank you.
yeah. And, you know, we've already identified some great people to be on the committee and
Yeah, I would be interested.
we need to add to that and, it's gonna be a great document. We
so I think we need to engage. Forward.
I would definitely though, put motion to engage with the town.
Everyone stuff that we're gonna. Yeah,
For this committee, is it gonna be somebody from that have a conflict of interest that can serve this committee?
they've already started.
That works.
That's
fine, yes.
And we have to try to define our size. I mean, we don't have.
Well, can I do a motion to get this again?
Yeah.
Maybe get this motion, to get this beautiful holistic. Idea going, and let's get this comprehensive plan, Mr. Mahoney, Mr. Higgins. The town of Hunter, the village of Hunter, and the village of Tannersville on our part, I do a motion to proceed.
We have a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All right. It was a profound idea. Like that came together in about. That's actually getting money.
And Mr. Mahoney, you know, in 2 years, I have to remind the public. In 2 years, we stand on our ass about this. We're getting more done in the past 4 months, I've done those yet, and then you're working with them, so thank you.
I need to highlight something the mayor said, and that's, there's approximately, numbers are gonna be off, but it's more or less along the lines of about 60 cities in the state. Close to 1,000 towns in the state. There are a certain limited number of grants, they do not go to everyone. And that's the people that apply, we're not even talking about the villages, the towns, the boroughs, the cities that we even bother applying. So the amount of active participation we have, people sitting in the front row, people on this table, people on the town board, people in the Village of Hunters board, cannot be taken lightly. The amount of work, the amount of effort put in to get these plans done and to get this grant money is really unprecedented. I've seen from the municipal standpoint. People are working very hard to make this happen. Thank you.
There's a market change from 4 months ago. It's palpable. You can feel, I'm not bullshitting you. You can feel a unity between the town offices. That is not to be minded. But I'm willing to. Not gonna use the other word.
It was also for those out in the audience that we here. This community overwhelmingly, rightfully, I believe, voted to preserve the village of Tannersville for all their reasons. This movement does nothing to jeopardize that, only re-enhances it. And what has been recognized, that the existence of Tannersville, the incorporated village, is enhancing the funding opportunity to all our community. Because now it is two people, two individual governments applying for those funds, which makes it so much stronger, and they recognize. So for those who think, oh, boy, it looks like they're getting more than consent, no. They're having a shared vision, we are doing the work, but having the preservation of Tannersville, first of all, this wouldn't have happened, and it would have limited the funding opportunities for the town of Hunter in particular, for which we all pay taxes, and would have limited Tannersville. So thank you for saving Tannersville, and this does not bring us anywhere, and it doesn't at all take away our home rule as a village. So that will not be relinquished on any level. The village of Tannersville will express these.
Mr. Mayor, could I just add to that? The town of Hunter applied for we applied for the Department of State grant, the local government shared services grant, which would not have been possible without you as a partner, without the village of Tannersville. Number one. Number two, as I think has been discussed, is the town of Hunter is looking to replace our highway group. And it is our great hope that in partnership with the village of Tannersville, that will make us eligible for additional funds. So just to reinforce your past statement, none of that would have been possible.
Thank you. Back in office, please come to us directly, find out the facts, understand what that really means. And as far as the highway garage, it's going to be here for the motion for the village to proceed to get grant money to relocate our highway garage, which is currently in the floodplain. Anyone that has lived here would have witnessed over the last 25 years, 3 times 5 feet of water flying through our highway. All the trucks and all the oil and all the equipment underwater, all our emergency equipment underwater. And it took place in a 5-hour span in the middle of the night, the river run through. We acquired funding to move the garage, partial funding, we're applying for more funding. And then in an attempt on a village town piece of property right on the border, have a beautiful plan that Mr. Mahoney and his town board, which some members of the present here, have moved forward with great vision, continued efficiency of our community, so that we don't have duplication, very effective and environmentally safe on high ground, oil tanks, salt shed, everything else out of the streams. You have a representative here for the DEP, so not really, but we do have some work. It is always, we signed an agreement that we would assist in protecting quality of water on this mountaintop. Whether we signed an agreement or not, that is our duty to this community, this planet, and everyone else. But we do have a formal agreement to do so, and this is that continued process.
And please feel free to go to this Mahoney and his board meetings when he has this big OEM center. It's very informative. Right now, I'd like to do a motion for the right submission of 4 applications. The CFA for the following programs: WQIP water quality, climate smart, NWRP, and marketing and tourism. Do I have a motion to address any of these?
Do you have a second? Name. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Does anybody need any? They all make sense. They all make sense, just for the public, in case you're wondering, reservoir, that application was put in by the village engineer to continue to reinforce our infrastructure on biggest reservoir, to address any concerns there. Climate smart application is for the DPW garage that we just talked about, to join and share these with the new construction that's going to take place. The Upper Lake Trail connection, I have a member from the trail committee that I have a few here that where, as you know, in 1997, we built the Huckleberry Trail, the village of Tannersville is 2.2 miles. That has been great efforts by a lot of people. This is a difficult process to connect that middle section of Tannersville to North Lake and all the way to Hunter Mountain. They've made great progress. And with this final application out of our brand new park, we are putting in funds to get us through the wetlands out to the new part of the upper park and to continue east to North Lake. We've had cooperation, generous cooperation from landowners getting easements to accomplish that, easement from DEP, easement from private property owners, and then we also need to get through this environmental safe space under the Bowl wetland space. And we've already done preliminary engineering and plus practice to continue that out of the upper lake. And it will be magnificent. I walked it, didn't walk through the wetlands, but I walked it, we need a bridge through the wetlands or a floating dock system. That's what we're applying for. Just to be, and the CFA for marketing, for exploring how we can better our community, in our community, making it safe, making it better, because we are the jewel of the essence. I mean, I think that's what we do, and I think people know that. So that was an additional grant. No guarantees on all of it, but I can tell you, we're gonna get 2 out of 4. We'll get 3 out of 4. We'll probably get 3 out of 4. If I was hedging my bet, I know we're gonna get 2 out. We're gonna get the highway broad. Because it's a desperate need and it's has all the scoring with the state. So we have a second. I did the discussion, a vote, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? So carry. Noise control law. Which person of the public had brought to the attention of the board and myself personally that we are a tourism community. We are conscious of all our residents and people want to work hard on weekends. So we adjusted the law. We're attempting also to enforce it, that people don't do really heavy work on Saturday and Sunday before 9 o'clock to try to preserve the peace. Prior to that, the adjustment of the law was just Sunday. We couldn't do it until 9, so now we added Saturday. And I have a vote, do we have a motion to approve the revision to this noise ordinance law? Motion to amend the revision of laws, like the hours. Motion to adopt law. I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. So carried. Proposed law number 2 of 2025 subdivision revised law. That was pretty straightforward. We have some colleagues in the audience that realize that our subdivision it's not consistent with the state subdivision. That means if you have a piece of property and you create more than 4 parcels, it's considered a major subdivision. Ours was that we created 3. So that wasn't consistent with the state law, so we brought it to the board to revise that law. We have a motion to adopt the subdivision law. Adopt the subdivision law. We have a second motion. Any discussion? All those in favor? And I. That was already done, all right.
Make your name, guys.
What? We did that already? No?
No, we didn't do your name. We got the policy. You just need it.
I'll make a motion that negative deck, law number 1. Negative declaration, secret, second. Any second? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. So carried. Law number 2 for 2025. Make a motion for a negative declaration, secret, second. All those in favor? Aye. Carried. Okay, so I took office in 1994. I'm not going to preach on this one because there are details. People are very passionate about the next order. We're going to open a public hearing. I just know that there have been quality of life and safety issues involved with properties through my entire tenure. And it's been a long struggle to try to manage certain short-term rentals now that they're quoted, they used to be seasonal rentals, they used to be short-term rentals. Primarily, the big issues took place in the winter, issues with plowing, noise, garbage, different things of different nature, which isn't all that, but we've been trying to improve quality of life for all the residents and come to some sort of balance. We've had a war out to this community for the last 30 days, called short-term rental law.
Acronym SCR.
Short-term SDO. So we are going to open the public hearing to public comment. I'm going to remind myself and this board that this is the public's opportunity to speak, and there will be no banter between the board and or the public. And we also have received multitude of written comments that have been received by the board. Those will be reviewed, and we'll have 30 days of further review by the DEC and the DEP regulation before the law could be voted on and adopted. It does allow for certain minor changes, but that's why we welcome your input. And I don't know if it's even going to be voted on or whatever. But the floor is yours. Just raise your hand and I'll call on you. And
Or I should just tell her that I have for presentation, but I don't like it to be for the record.
thank you. Who would like to speak on a short-term rental to the public hearing portion of this law?
Neil stuff there?
Yeah, let you go.
So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, for the record, your name's in town.
So I've been coming up to this area. What you've done with the town. I think it's important to have a short-term rental. The permit, I mean, I read all these as I sat here. And in terms of the ability to have people keep their houses safe for their renters, meaning fire extinguishers, there has to be like a floor plan, depending on the number of bedrooms, dictates the number of people that can sleep in one house. Because I go down to the shore a lot, and some of the towns also implemented something exactly like this. And I think they really needed it. I don't know what it's like up here anymore because the rental really had quite a. People just can't afford to rent. I mean, they've got their primary homes, maybe don't want to spend money. And it's also difficult for people to buy second homes, and they may also use the rental for the income. But I think you have to have some safety requirements. Not having that is a recipe, personally, I think, for a disaster. All the requirements in here, now mine is long-term. I won't do any short-term. So mine is like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months at a clip. So I don't think I even fall on this. But I do everything that's already in here. The smoke detectors, the labeled fire extinguishers, because I certainly don't want someone getting hurt or not being able to get out of the house if there's fire. So I won't probably shoot me here, but I think it's important because I don't know how everybody upkeeps their house or keeps it in the condition that would be suitable. So I read through this, and unless there's something else in here that I missed, I think it's important to have.
Thank you.
And what is the fee, by the way, for short-term rental? I didn't see anything mentioned as far as the permit fee. It's not in here.
Fee schedule.
It's based on number of bedrooms.
Very good. And the fee schedule will be voted on by the board every year. So it will not be a permanent attachment to the document, but there will be a fee schedule by the village of Tannersville as a resolution yearly, so it can assess it's strong, it's not strong enough. just considering what goes on, but there is a definite licensing fee because we have to cover people that are not inspection, the extra inspection. The online, other things of that nature. So there are costs associated with managing them all. So there is a fee schedule.
And this is for anybody who rents for a period of under 30 days. It's not an aggregate of 30 days. Meaning,
Short-term
like, you get 3 or 4 people during the month, and all of a sudden no, it's nothing. Because I think Hunter has that, where they limit the number of days the
No.
unit owner can actually rent, which has destroyed them. Over a month or at the Highlands, forget about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a, I was just thinking, wait, don't pay attention.
Yeah, no, that's
No, this law and doing comprehensive planning, this law is very consistent with the already adopted law that the town of Hunter. The fee schedule will be very similar, and the regulations are very similar. The only main difference is the way it's executed because the town has zoning. Town of Hunter does not have zoning, so therefore, because of the zoning, our language is slightly different, but it's very consistent with the town because I was going to have. We have people in this room that own short-term rental properties, and it's a good boost for the economy. They run them beautifully, but they own it in town and the village. So we were going to give them legislation that didn't match. So this very much matches. And I, as a town supervisor, just want to make it on.
All I just wanted to add is that the town of Hunter short-term rental, which is not applicable to either village. It was a big project, much like this, and it's been very successful. The intent, just as I feel that this law, this make sure that they're safe. And for the health and safety of the residents and the neighbors. And anybody coming in the community. So I think it's a really good common sense law, and I commend for this draft.
Thank you. The gentleman in the back. Yes, sir. You could announce your name.
Yes.
For you and too much in the beginning. However, I think, honestly speaking, I do think that the relation with the before everything has to be regulated. Of the state. Mentioned before, fires, role, I think it's a great idea. However, I do. My first innovation is hearsay. Hearsay, I don't even think it's I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think hearsay evidence to find this. Just that's
So what you're saying in regard to somebody making hearsay, and somebody makes a salacious or complaint that there's noise. Like that's exactly the ones Jim was getting.
I might be right, I might be wrong. It's very much, I'm official resident, and my heart is from the south. So, it's no problem. That's my first issue. My second issue. Is the response time requirements. I think 30 minutes or 60 minutes. It's sometimes physically impossible. Especially there's a lot of people who are here. I mean, I had them here. You know, I got right here. She there's no why it's capable. To my knowledge, why I'm not talking about 24 hours. Listen, I just think 30 minutes is kind of too fast for response. Now, another thing is occupancy needs. I personally think we got to look at somewhat flexible. Because I'm not even talking about rental, that's yes. There's sometimes family things, there's that. Somebody wants to put an extra people have kids, or it's 3-4 families. I'm not sure if the occupancy really have for the definition of people in the room. 2 people in the room might be sometime. Now, all this rule, to my understanding, and that's applying up and might be some question. Yeah, it's not applying to my resident, your resident. It's applied only to short term. Now, what about the long term? At least 3. How is
Just more is that part of it, only talking about short term rentals.
like weekend rental?
30 days.
Oh, that's the.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure there's some other people that are gonna speak, and sir, I see you have that on your phone. If you want to forward it, then the board or myself. We have it. So we do plan on even delving further into these remarks and then responding to them hopefully satisfactorily or. But we do feel that we are going to entertain and respond to these comments, which are well taken, and then you'll get your perspective or our perspective as far as what your concerns are. But thank you for your input. Start switching.
I can tell you, I lived here my whole life. I've been through the 80s with long-term rentals. Where the skiers would pack the house with floor. You'd have the same kind of problems, noise and all that stuff. But there was teeth in it because the realtors could go to those houses on long-term rentals. And tell them, you're calm down. You're agreeing, done. Short-term rental, they're there nightly, weekly, monthly, whatever. You can have a party this night, the next night is a whole different group of people. The cops can go the first night, tell them to shut up. They can go the second night and tell a whole different group of people to shut up. It's a constant problem. There's a few places that are a real problem. They're the troublemakers. They're the ones that are going to discuss it into the seat. There's a lot of good ones. I've got one down the road from me, I don't even know it's there. But I also got one 2 blocks away that I go there every weekend. Or I should say every night. Every night in the car. These regulations that you put in place, I've been dealing with this my whole life. And every time the board talks, if the discussion, if the table it, the town finally went and did it. Okay, the town finally stepped up to it, took it head on. It's working well.
We're doing it.
My piece.
Anyone else would like to comment on the short-term rental law that proposed before the committee?
One moment. I'd like to point to, I'm not opposed to short-term rental. Responsible, and for the record, I can short-term rental. I would like to see something in there that say no speakers outside. No speakers outside. And you can have that a lot when people are just blaring music outside of the house. And, you know, it's really a disturbing. So all hours into the.
We have the worst one. It is the most difficult law to enforce, even if you had full-time law enforcement. Catching the decibels at a certain level, certain distance, there's all these regulations that make it very complicated with advice.
There's also the law of disturbing the peace, right, which does not require. So, but I didn't want to respond to the. Just respond to that, that piece is very difficult, but we can move that also, but. That's just true. But the correct is gonna be considered. Good. Make a motion to close the public hearing. Okay, question. That was a wonderful public hearing, but in a second, and I make money. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Make a motion, to, under seeker, to coordinate review on the proposal with 125. Pertaining to regulation of short-term rentals.
Yeah, I'm
Second. Third, under the motion, under this act. Coordinated. Second, all those in favor? Aye. No, second. Okay. We have privilege of the floor. Did I cover everything? Okay.
Well, now, Carl.
Oh, you have anything, wanted to add, I guess now that the public hearing has stopped. One of the missions of the short-term rental law to neighbors who have been, have had constant difficulty over decades, I've been in office for decades, I know, decades. Is the law allows more enforcement and more teeth. But people have made remarks, I saw already in here, that they were afraid of hearsay, discriminatory enforcement. I can tell you that this administration and myself and our current code enforcement officer is of the highest standard. And I said this board is of the highest standard of ethics, not that this board would ever allow it. So hearsay and flagrant mistakes because someone doesn't like someone, that doesn't carry water. I can even quickly respond even to the, like you said, you walk around with your phone. When certain complaints come in, there are certain companies that don't have an on-site manager or don't have an available manager. So this would allow for a neighbor to say, hey, you know, this house is really loud. The response time was more that Mr. Jones calls or his maintenance person calls and said, hey, listen, I'm gonna throw you out of the house. Rented the house, disturbing the peace, disturbing the quality of life. You know, that's not part of the agreement. It's 2 in the morning. That's a response within 30 minutes. The phone call is a response. Whether those tenants continue to not rectify the situation is not part of your response time. The first thing is we want to make sure that people are accountable, doing inspections, keeping the home safe. And that's going to be secondarily inspected by our code enforcement officer, just to include all of that. So the response time is more about response time, whether or not you're able to clean up all the garbage that the bear got because tenants didn't care and they left their bags of garbage on the front porch and neighbor complained about the garbage. We understand that if you call the office, the code enforcement officer, I'm sending guys there, they're going to be in about an hour. It's not a violation. That's responding to what the complaint is in a timely manner and making verbal contact that you're aware of it, you're addressing it, and you're going to remedy it. We've had places in the middle of the winter where cars are blocking homes from senior citizens and they can't get out of their driveway for emergency care. I mean, it's not only about garbage and noise, we think quality of life. Okay, where people are parked in their neighbors' driveways and neighbors are, you know, my age, you can't get out of their driveway. There's no snow removal. I had someone plow their Airbnb snow and block the neighbor's driveway with the snow in the middle of the storm, and they couldn't get out. There's been a myriad of dangerous situations created, all of which I can't even articulate. That's why we're having the law. It's all about accountability, buying into your community. And we think the fees are not gonna impact this operation severely, especially for the ones that are actually. But you'll have more time to speak about that when we adopt the fees, so.
Sure. I want to acknowledge for this village, both Mark Smears and Robin, for those that aren't aware. Early in this administration, we were able to take our village taxes and our water bills, and we were able to enter the 21st century in 2025. Now those bills are now payable online. At no additional cost to the village taxpayer, it is by payment. It is a system that's widely used with many municipalities. I have a report here that about 5% have been paid online, which is significant. And so I want to thank Mark, I want to thank Robin, and I want to make the public aware of those doing online, and those in the room. You no longer need to hand cut a check, if you choose not to, you can go online through the village website, make your payments on. One, number two, I want to. Very convenient, is payable by the payer, it's not the village taxpayer that is paying the bill, it is the individual payer. Second item I wanted to note is, we didn't address this in our last meeting, we had the car show, a very successful event. Which I believe we ended up with about a. On the event, I want to specifically thank Cody, who did a lot of work on this event, and our DPW team. All day, available to the public all day. So we booked a gross margin profit to the village, thanks to a lot of work. And thank you. I didn't help.
You were working that day.
You were working. Yeah. Oh. So. You want to thank Cody, you want to thank also the community again.
It's,
It's looked like 4 town. You can't go anywhere and talk about that. Probably the most successful part of the town, easily. Super attended, 1,000 people smiling every class. Started it 27 years ago, 26, probably my first term in office. And it's by, and only by constant energy of Robin and of course the support of volunteers. And paid highway guys to take their fall and say, well, to work, to manage it. Try to support them, bring people to Tannersville so they recognize our jewel in the castle. We're painted village, but we're also the jewel of the castle. Anyone that lives here really recognizes that simple without.
and the unrealized margin, we can't put a monetary amount on it. Where it's probably in the tens of thousands of dollars. So Robin, thank you, and thank you, Mr. McCool.
Any other privilege of the floor concerns that weren't brought up tonight? Yes, sir.
I wanted to just reiterate how many pets around from fun, that I just state that idea of upgrade to the current skate park at Brookhaven Park. And the topic of discussion was one to things as community to show interest to revamp the facility that's down as graciously thank you all have forward in our love friends. Reading the skate park is wonderful. So that being said, we had some discussion, some momentum. The only thing I'd like to point or add, two things I'd like to add. I say thank you for that. First, being we continue looking at bettering something we care about. We would require an appointment so that we can direct our concrete questions and march forward and not have this come back and forth. And basically, just so we know what concrete steps to take for volunteering our time as best we can. I'm working currently down in Rocky County State. Anyway, point is, if we could establish a point guy on the board, a point person, that would be awesome. And secondly,
We want to take it? No, you're the partner.
cool. Thank you. I'll get your info, email, not. Okay, secondly, we apply for have the other small fundraising. This August. Saturday, 18th or Sunday, 17th, if whenever the application process would like to take care of it, I'm actually Get form or whatever, but we just want to keep that going. I'd like to make a fee for an event tomorrow for a fundraising event for anybody more at the skate park.
I'm second, a motion to make sure there's no fee attached to the proceeding, Danny Legg's name and one of his name, and it'll start be free.
So does that mean we can go ahead and 16, 17?
No, you're gonna coordinate with the speech, okay, make sure that we can is provided and everyone understands the guidelines of what you're accomplishing. Yeah, I mean, all those in favor, aye, and I, today's appointment, okay. I will gladly assist you with all my knowledge of what we have to do, but there are specific concerns for the improvements, possible location of a more grand recreation skate park. So now we'll be going, okay. As we go to Cody, and then I'll do whatever I can to assist. Okay, all right, thanks. Welcome. Anyone else? Thank you for coming out. Oh, yes.
So kids on the dirt, I'm not sure if it's dirt bike or electric bikes, the ones that are really loud. What would the approach be? You talked about noise levels, it's difficult to monitor. What would be the best way to handle like a neighbor?
McCabe, Rinaldi. They stopped it up on Raspberry Lane, they stopped it up on the golf course, they stopped it back there. What should we talk about? Town supervisors here, and I can look what it is.
It's not always, sometimes green.
Actually, okay, we'll bring it in attention of that control, and report. And you hear them?
Medium.
Yeah, this board doesn't. And their dirt bikes, it's up to the police, but they're pretty aware of it, which will be in attention, thank you. Thank you.
It's just seasonal sometimes.
Usually it's what I know. This is our 100th-day anniversary. I could stand on my soapbox. But I can assure you that this board, myself and Mr. Kelly are working at light speed. As we campaigned on, what we said we would get done, what we said we would get accomplished. And if you look around, if you walk around the village, you see the solar panels, you see the surveyors, and you see the park, what it was just a couple months ago when you see blacktop. It was advised, we'll take 3 months at minimum, really 4 months, before you even get close to adopting law. So it's been 100 days. We adopted 2, very close to adopting the 3rd, on April 7th. And there has been great input, younger board members, new board members. I am a veteran of the team over here, and I'm very grateful, and I love the public service, and I'm happy to do it. And I'm happy to pass them off to the younger generation, forward. But I do appreciate the support for those who supported me and anyone else that didn't support me. I am here to answer any. So thanks for coming out. Really enjoy the summer. Don't forget August 9th and 10th, August 9th, fireworks and celebration at the Upper Lake. August 10th, celebration continues. Kids, adults, we already have some things lined up and we're going to add to it. Go on the Savvy app, be able to see what other amenities we're going to have on that evening, early evening, and even fireworks on the 9th and on the 10th. So it's really a family day, kind of meet your neighbor day. It's kind of a celebration of our diversity and this community that we all love. And that was the intent brought up by multitude of community members here, full-time, seasonal, part-time, owners, not owners. That's what they want. So if we work together, we can really move this community forward. We just keep polishing the gem and cast. Thank you, everyone. Make a motion to close. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.